Have a real stable at-home situation to understand. I got meetings, I got study, I got to train, the way I eat, the way I sleep. I have to understand that. Now, if he's willing to pay that price, there's a price to be paid for greatness. There's a price to be paid for success. And if you're not willing to pay that price, you don't deserve to be successful. You don't deserve to be great. So the question that Cam is going to have himself, and only he can answer, not his dad, not his mom, not his handlers, only.
Following his recent cancellation, Shannon Sharpe has gotten a tidal wave of support from both fans and celebrities. The former NFL player and well-liked sports commentator has found himself at the center of controversy, but many in the sports and entertainment industries are standing up for him, claiming that his viewpoint and voice are important.
As long as you're true to yourself, I do my research. I'm not just out here arbitrarily and willy-nilly throwing stuff together to try to get clicks or views. I didn't ask Cat to come on. I thought he would be a good conversation. I waited a year to get this. 21 Savage and some. I got Mo on now. I reach out, Cam. I'm gonna tell you like this. You are your best booking agent.
Shannon Sharpe, a three-time Super Bowl champion and Hall of Famer, faced backlash after making a number of statements that some viewers found controversial. The details of these comments have not been fully disclosed, but they allegedly dealt with sensitive topics that sparked widespread debate and outrage. Sharpe's supporters and networks quickly distanced themselves from him, causing a significant public relations crisis. Comedian Cat Williams was one of the first to publicly support Sharpe, who is known for his outspoken nature. Sharpe took to social media to show
easier to grow apart than grow together. And maybe that was the 7-year, you have 17-year locusts that they come once every 17 years. Well, maybe this was a 7 years, this was all I was supposed to get out of that. Maybe this was the bridge that I was supposed to travel on for 7 years. And then after that, that bridge was gonna collapse and gonna force me to go do something else.
Rap and cultural icon Snoop Dogg joined the chorus of support, posting a heartfelt message on Instagram. He praised Sharpe for his authenticity and courage and speaking his mind, urging fans to stand by him during this challenging time. Numerous other celebrities, including fellow sports analysts, actors, and musicians, have voiced their support for Sharpe. They argue that his forthrightness and willingness to tackle difficult topics are what make him a valuable commentator. The overarching sentiment is that canceling Sharpe would be a loss for both sports media and broader discussions about culture and society. Sharpe's cancellation has reignited the debate over freedom of speech and the boundaries of acceptable discourse in the media. Supporters argue that while it's essential to hold public figures accountable, it's equally important to allow space for diverse opinions and robust debates. The incident raises questions about the future of media and commentary. If figures like Sharpe are silenced, there is a concern that the media will become homogenized with fewer voices willing to challenge the status quo. This could lead to a less vibrant and less representative landscape. There are growing calls for the networks and sponsors to reconsider their stance on Sharpe. Many believe that his absence would create a void in sports commentary, and they are urging these entities to recognize the value he brings to the table. Shannon Sharpe's cancellation has sparked a significant backlash from celebrities and fans who argue that his unique voice and perspective are crucial. The support he has received underscores the importance of diverse opinions in media and the need to protect freedom of speech, as Shannon Sharpe is experiencing the harsh realities of the industry firsthand. Cat Williams foresaw this turmoil just a few months back. Sharpe's podcast Club Shay has been gaining remarkable traction, with the Cat Williams interview becoming the most viewed podcast video in YouTube history. However, not everyone in the industry is happy with Shannon's success. Recently, during an interview, Shannon expressed frustration over various celebrities attempting to cancel his show and undermine his achievements. They've even issued threats, and numerous guests who were once keen to appear on his show have abruptly canceled without explanation.
Maybe it was a combination of things. Maybe there are some things I could have done differently. Maybe I should have just had a conversation with Skip. That before it even got to that point, maybe said something differently, but I don't know. It's really hard to say. I just think that after 7 years and you with somebody
We always knew the industry had its toxic elements, but what's happening with Shannon is elevating the issue to an alarming age. There are even rumors suggesting Shannon's life might be at risk due to the growing hostility. In a recent interview, Shannon opened up about the unsettling challenges he's encountered since his viral interview with Cat Williams earlier this year. During a conversation with Cam Newton, he explained why celebrities feel at ease sharing their stories on his podcast. Shannon revealed that he always asks his guests before each interview if there are any topics they prefer not to discuss. This approach ensures they feel comfortable and can present their true selves to the world. Shannon clarified that he is not a journalist and has never claimed to be one. For those who might not know, Shannon is a highly successful retired NFL player who was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011. After his football career, he became a commentator for CBS Sports on shows like the NFL Today, which included the Sprint Halftime Report and the Subway Postgame Show. In 2013, he became a columnist and spokesperson for Fitness ARS for Men magazine and even appeared on its cover. Later in 2016, he joined Skip Biz on FS1's sports debate show. Skip and Shannon Undisputed. Shannon Sharpe didn't start podcasting just because it was trendy. He already had a solid track record in the industry, exemplified by his show Club Shay.
I work my ass off. I try to create the best content that I possibly can. I try to create content that I feel that my viewing and listening audience want to see, want to hear. And that's the team that I've assembled. That's our job, is to try to create the best content. But no, because think about my ascension, Cam.
Shannon also hosts a podcast named Nightcap alongside retired NFL player Chad Johnson and retired basketball player Gilbert Arenas. Additionally, the episode featuring Bubba Wallace was highlighted by Apple Podcast editorial team, underscoring its importance. Shannon's journey exemplifies his resilience and his knack for connecting with his audience despite the industry's challenges and adversities. Shannon Sharpe launched Club Shay in 2020 during the pandemic. After retiring from professional sports, he discovered a new passion for podcasting. His goal was to create a platform where Black entertainers could share their stories without fear of harsh judgment. As he puts it, he's a conversationalist, not a journalist. Despite his media experience, Shannon wasn't prepared for the overwhelming success his podcast achieved in 2024, largely thanks to Cat Williams. Shannon had been trying to get Cat on the podcast for about a year, finally getting a break when he randomly met Cat's new manager, who connected him with the comedian.
Ascension, Cam. I lost my job in June. In October, Complex says, the most entertaining sports personality, I'm number one.
Yes, sir.
I go, Stephen A. bring me on First Take. Thanks, Stephen A. I can't thank you enough, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that at some point. Have a meeting with Dave Roberts, who's the EV of sports talent there. Talk to Burke Magnus, talk to Jimmy Pitaro.
A week later, Cat Williams was revealing industry secrets on Club Shay. Initially, Shannon Sharpe didn't anticipate the episode going viral. At the time, his most viewed episode on YouTube featured Steve Harvey with around 8 million views. However, after filming with Cat, Sean's producer predicted they were about to hit it big. Shannon thought that even if the episode surpassed the Steve Harvey one, it might reach around 10 million views. He was way off. The Cat Williams episode now boasts just under 72 million views on YouTube, dramatically altering the podcast trajectory. Suddenly, potential sponsors began to call. More guests expressed interest in appearing on the show, and Club Shay quickly became the premier platform for sharing personal stories. However, Shannon soon discovered that his success wasn't universally celebrated. Some industry insiders attempted to undermine the podcast, accusing Shannon of stirring up controversy, especially within the comedy community. Following the Cat Williams interview, to be fair, Cat Williams didn't pull any punches during his appearance, fiercely criticizing numerous well-known comedians and revealing industry secrets. Cat took aim at Kevin Hart, calling him unfunny, untalented, and a sellout who upholds the industry's gatekeeping practices. In Shannon's journey with Club Shay, Cat's resilience and connection with audiences are showcased despite facing industry challenges and controversies. Cat even accused Hart of being an industry plant. He began by questioning Kevin's narrative about his East Coast routes, suggesting it was improbable for Kevin to have established his career there and then swiftly achieved major recognition in LA. Cat scrutinized Kevin's meteoric rise in the industry, suggesting that Kevin had seemingly emerged from obscurity to land major gigs and TV roles in record time, a feat that typically takes other comedians years. Cat attributed Kevin's swift success to him being an industry plant. Furthermore, Cat accused Kevin of acting as a gatekeeper, aiding the ascent of other industry plants like Tiffany Haddish. Cat's scathing critique of Kevin Hart was unsurprising given their long-standing feud.
It doesn't matter. I don't need an excuse. I'm sorry for having mentioned Kevin's name at all. Having said that, I didn't make a total mistake. I meant to cut this, but I meant to cut the head of this. So my special will no longer be in Philly. It'll be in New York at the Barclays, where I cut off the head of Chris Rock. Step and Fetch It, Coon number 1. My special will be called Smaller and Brighter. You know, like bigger and blacker. And I'll deal with Chris Rock there in New York.
What's the problem with Chris Rock now?
I'll acknowledge that when I get to it.
Okay.
I've already made enough missteps, and I just got done doing back-to-back apologies for the first time in my life.
Amazing.
So that's what it is. So, okay, we got that. And on to the next.
In a previous interview, Sadie expressed his criticism of Kevin for donning a dress on screen. He argued that the trend of straight black men wearing dresses in the media is driven by industry gatekeepers with an agenda to emasculate black men. Kat also pointed out that whenever he voices his opinions, the industry retaliates by attempting to discredit him and paint him as unstable. This pattern now appears to be affecting Shannon Sharpe. When Sadie appeared on Shannon's podcast Club Shay earlier this year, he warned Shannon that using the platform for truth-telling would likely attract backlash. Shannon confessed he was caught off guard by the level of hostility he's encountering. Guests who were once enthusiastic about joining the show have suddenly backed out. He's now receiving negative comments about his interviewing style, and some people are active trying to have him canceled. He also accused Steve of stealing his narrative about being financially destitute and living in his car. This wasn't the first time Kat had criticized Steve Harvey. Previously, Kat had claimed that Steve perpetuated harmful stereotypes about black men. For example, Kat alleged that Steve coerced Cedric the Entertainer into wearing a dress, which he believed was part of a larger Hollywood conspiracy to emasculate black men. According to Kat, Steve deliberately belittled Cedric because he was threatened by Cedric's potential and didn't want him to outshine him. Kat asserted that Steve undermined Cedric's career by making him do things he was clearly uncomfortable with. He also proposed that Steve Harvey's career was questionable, asserting that Steve only achieved success due to his lack of morals. During his Club Shet interview, Kat criticized Steve, claiming he wasn't funny, was a supper performer, and yet had the nerve to dub himself the king of comedy. Kat regarded Steve Harvey's self-proclaimed title as an affront to the true kings of comedy who came before him. This wasn't the first occasion Kat attempted to challenge Steve's claim to comedy royalty. In 2009, he took the bold step by publicly daring Steve to uphold his title as the reigning king of comedy during a New Year's Eve show. Determined not to let himself be humiliated, Steve opted for a different approach, choosing to address the situation on Jamie Foxx's satellite radio program. He announced that he would rise above the fray and avoid engaging in a trivial feud. Steve shared a piece of wisdom from his grandfather, saying, "Dogs only bark at moving cars, not at ones that are parked. They may bark at the moon endlessly, but if the moon ever barks back, the dog becomes famous." This statement only bolstered Kat's assertion that Steve couldn't hold his own in a comedy showdown. However, the tension appeared to ease as both continued their careers until Kat reignited the feud with his frank and uninhibited interview. It seems Kat Williams' remarks truly read Steve Harvey, prompting Steve to go on a lengthy tirade on his radio show. While he didn't explicitly name Kat or Shannon, his references were unmistakable, yet the drama didn't end there. According to reports, Steve is working discreetly to convince other celebs to stay away from Club Shay. He's not the only one with a stake in this. Another prominent figure allegedly harboring resentment toward Shannon Sharpe is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah's dissatisfaction stems from Shannon's choice to feature Monique on his podcast, in which Monique openly criticized Oprah as a narcissistic manipulator. Monique explained how Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry undermined her career by blackballing her. This happened after Monique refused to take part in an unpaid, unscheduled press tour, which wasn't part of her contract. Their fallout dates back to when collaborated with Oprah on the film Precious. Oprah reportedly became infuriated by Monique's refusal and began spreading negative rumors about her being difficult to work with. This conflict with Oprah evidently had lasting repercussions. On another note, Shannon Sharpe, despite hosting Club Shay, a show known for its positive, enjoyable interviews, hasn't been without his own share of controversy. Certain episodes have sparked controversy for Shannon. For instance, he recently drew criticism following his interview with Amanda Seales. During their conversation, Amanda spoke about her experiences living with autism and the difficulties she encountered as a black girl growing up in America. To be fair, Shannon initially appeared confrontational when Amanda mentioned that her mother had observed signs of autism. and noticed how her mind operated differently. Shannon seemed to undermine her by implying she might be exaggerating. Amanda shared a story about a time she corrected a teacher who made a historically inaccurate statement. As the only Black student in the class, she interpreted the teacher's response as racist, which led to a parent-teacher meeting that she felt was biased against her. Shannon, however, disagreed, explaining that in his background, students never corrected their teachers and suggested that the teacher reaction might have been more about feeling disrespected than about racism. While both perspectives had merit, the interview continued without further incident. However, later on, fans accused Shannon of gaslighting. The debates about Shannon and his podcast underscore the intricate difficulties of managing media and public opinion, especially when addressing sensitive subjects with notable guests. Amanda observed that despite Shannon's assertion that his podcast is a non-judgmental space, he comes across as quite critical. She concluded that while Shannon has a cool demeanor, he may not be the best fit for profound discussions. Instead, she recommended that he should concentrate on more entertaining, lighthearted interviews and focus on being a better listener rather than pushing his own viewpoint. Some people agree with Shannon.
So now with Club Shay Shay, Unc and Ocho and I partnered up. Gil does the basketball aspect. I own those entities. But even in the linear space, people know I'm authentic. Now, you might not like what I say about your favorite player.
Yes, sir.
And that's the hardest thing, especially when you and I. See, when I critique certain players, the guy didn't play well. It's okay to say a player that looks like Cam Newton and Shannon Sharpe didn't play well.
Yeah.
It ain't no buck dancing. It ain't no Uncle Tom. He didn't play well.
Correct.
You saw it. But you want me to go on TV and lie.
In a recent interview with Cam Newton, Shannon reacted to criticism by saying that if this interview was the only one that fans took issue with among all those on his channel, he could accept that the hostility seemingly started even before the Cat Williams interview. Except from that, correcting adults was out of the question, and we would have faced serious penalties for doing so. However, Shannon didn't have much help from others. TMZ Sports reported a burglary at Shannon's Los Angeles home. The break-in happened between 7:00 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. while Shannon was dining with friends. The thieves made off with an array of valuables, including watches, jewelry, and designer bags with an estimated total worth of around $1 million. Shannon subsequently announced a $50,000 reward for any information that could lead to the burglar's arrest. Despite this, no reliable leads have surfaced initially. The incident appeared to be a stand-alone event unrelated to the podcast. However, following Shannon's interview, rumors have emerged suggesting that the burglary may have been a botched attempt to target Shannon. When they found him absent from home, it allegedly turned into a theft. It might seem like a far-fetched conspiracy, but Shannon isn't the first, nor will he be the last to be blackballed by industry gatekeepers who hold a grudge. For many fans, it's confusing why there's animosity towards Shannon when all he does is offer a platform for Black celebrities. It seems Shannon Sharpe is facing significant backlash due to this high-profile interview with Cat Williams, which is allegedly creating major upheaval in his career. There are whispers that some industry figures are trying to blacklist him. Interestingly, Cat Williams had anticipated this and cautioned Shannon that certain people would attempt to sabotage him. Since the Cat Williams episode aired, Shannon's podcast has been breaking records, becoming the most watched podcast video in YouTube history and igniting extensive debate. However, not everyone is thrilled about this development. Several influential industry figures are reportedly furious and may be working to cancel Shannon's show in an attempt to undermine him. In a recent interview, Shannon voiced his frustration with the celebrities who he believes are trying to sabotage his career. He mentioned experiencing substantial backlash and difficulty securing new guests, all stemming from his interview with Cat Williams. However, fans argue that Cat is not to blame. They contend that Shannon should have managed the situation with greater professionalism instead of simply agreeing with everything Cat said. Critics suggest that Shannon is now pretending to be unaware of the possible consequences. When you let guests share gossip about prominent figures, it's likely to draw a large audience, but at what cost? Shannon must have anticipated some repercussions. Shannon also mentioned that Cat came with evidence to back up his claims, emphasizing that his role is not to challenge too much. He primarily aims to let his guests speak. Shannon then discussed how the success of his interview with Cat Williams elevated his podcast to new heights. Cat had predicted this, foreseeing that the interview would be a game changer for Shannon's show. Cat also warned Shannon that some powerful industry figures would retaliate against him for giving Cat a platform to reveal their secrets.
No buck dancing. It ain't no Uncle Tom. He didn't play well.
Correct.
You saw it, but you want me to go on TV and lie.
Yeah.
So
Because
you want me to
y'all
lose?
cool, or
you
y'all-
want me
you
to
just
right?
seen
You
it.
want
Yeah,
me to
yeah,
lose
yeah.
all my credibility?
This is exactly what happened, according to Shannon, and while he is appreciative of the surge in popularity and exposure brought about by Kat's explosive revelations, he is also facing serious fallout. As Kat had warned, some industry insiders are reportedly unhappy that Shannon seemed to take offense at Kat's jokes about them and the expose, and they are supposedly working behind the scenes to undermine Shannon's platform in retaliation. If you liked this video, be sure to check out some of our others on the screen.